We've talked quite a bit in the last couple of years, but I remember you came on this show very shortly after you lost the 2010 race, and you were, my phrase, in a world of hurt. I mean, it was painful, and you were very honest about that. I mean, what gave you the muster to give it another stab when you know the end result? You know, maybe not, but it could be the same.
No, you don't know what the end result will be, and but I do have something to talk about, and I have tremendous interest in seeing this state succeed, and that has a lot to do with it. And you know, having done the campaign before, I had a chance to get to meet a whole bunch of people that I wouldn't have met otherwise, and actually, in some respects, one of the great things about it is you do come away with this incredibly positive sense about the people who are here, and I certainly came away with that. But I absolutely believe that, as I said in my opening statement, I believe we can do better. I believe we should be great, and I think that really does require a heavy focus on jobs and affordability, a really heavy focus on making sure every school is great. We've made great progress in education, but we still have a ways to go, especially to close the achievement gap between some of the really high-performing districts and some of the districts that are not performing as well. And as a former local official and a former state official, I think there are a lot of things you can do to improve the relationship between state and local government to create safer and more energized and economically successful communities. And I'd like to have a chance to do that. And the final thing I'll say, Emily, is you know, it's not. Lauren and I talked a lot. My wife and I talked a lot about the win-lose thing. And in the end of the day, we basically decided that that's really not the right way to think about this. The right way to think about this is, do you care about the direction the state's heading in? Do you believe you could do better? And do you believe that you have a vision for the Commonwealth that would be a really positive and an approachable and interesting one for the voters? And the answer to that was yes.
There's always been kind of cross-the-aisle support for your mission, your leadership. People like you.
Don't say it like it's a surprise.
No, it wasn't. I mean, they admired your leadership skills, and it came down to this campaigning thing. And you wrote about this, you know, in Commonwealth magazine. And one of the issues was taking all this advice that comes your way, and you should have done this, and really you'd be better off doing that way. And what's going to happen this time? You're going to be just going to be Charlie Baker, or you're going to put all that stuff aside? How do you not listen to people when they're doing your ads, they're helping you raise money? And
if there's one thing I hope, Lauren and I talked a lot about this too, and whatever happens in November of 2014, it's going to be very important to us that people understand where I want to take the state and what my vision is, and just as important as that, I want people to walk away. I want the people who know me best to walk away from the race, whatever happens, saying, the guy I saw in that campaign, that's the Charlie Baker I know. That's what I want to see happen.
You did say in that Commonwealth piece, too, how much this affects your family. But this year, you and Lauren have decided she's going to be much more involved. And part of that is an appeal to women, and that's fine. But you still got kids that are pretty young.
Yeah.
I mean,
actually, my kids are older now.
Are they graduated?
Charlie, our oldest, is out of college. Oh. AJ is in college, and Caroline is in high school.
Yeah, so well, one of
them
is still around. Yeah. But you don't feel it'll have the same dramatic impact on family life?
The biggest lesson my kids took from the whole thing was Dad really wanted to be governor because he thought he could help the people in Massachusetts, and he failed. And the next morning, he got up, and he went out, and he helped all the people on his campaign find jobs, and then I got a job, and life went on. And the message to my children from this was, if you really believe in something, it's okay to take a shot at it, and guess what? Even if it doesn't work out and you don't succeed, the world does not come to an end. My kids, I didn't really appreciate this at the time, but all three of my kids at some point have said to both Lauren and me, you know, watching that experience has made me more willing to kind of step out of my comfort zone and to try things that I wouldn't necessarily try, because frankly, we watched Dad try and fail, and it actually didn't look so bad in the long run.
So what are some of your things going to be? Last time you tried had enough about the Governor Patrick and laying off 5,000 state workers, and this year you've said, you know, let's make Massachusetts great. That's been your message. But what are some of the key things you want to try?
I think this whole thing about the relationship between the state and the local communities is something that I wouldn't call it a do-over, but I think it needs a little bit of a makeover. And I'm going to spend a lot of time talking to folks at the local level about a lot of thoughts and ideas I have on this, and I'm going to collect those from them. And as the campaign goes on, we're going to turn them into policy statements and chase that. And on the education piece, I just think we have made tremendous progress there. But anybody who looks at the education performance that you see in some parts of Massachusetts and what you see in other parts has to conclude that we really have to do better there. And on the employment piece, a state that has the kind of resources intellectually that we have and the talent. I mean, the last few years I've been spending at a venture capital firm in Cambridge. So every day, all these incredibly smart, aspirational people come through our office with all these wild ideas about how they plan to change the world. And we have the greatest asset of all, which is energetic, enthusiastic, smart, innovative people. And somehow we have to create a state government that recognizes that we compete with lots of other parts of the country for this kind of talent. And we need to be more affordable and a lot more accountable than we are now. And I think that's part of the balance thing. I am one of these people who, having been in state government when we had Republican governors, simply felt that we got a better product out of government when you had both teams on the field and they were competing with each other, best ideas. And when I think about education reform and workers' comp reform and a lot of the other initiatives from that time, I think two parties is a good thing.
Voters may very well agree with you.
We'll see.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see.
Charlie
Yeah.
Baker, great to have you.
Thank you.
All right, that is it for Greater Boston. Tomorrow night, what role will race play in the Boston mayoral contest? There are 6 candidates of color. One was endorsed by the Boston Globe. Will communities of color divide their votes? And will white voters help elect Boston's first non-white mayor? We analyze the data, plus going for a spin on the Greenway.
I'm Jerry Bowen. Coming up tomorrow on Greater Boston, we're on the new Greenway Carousel. We'll meet the artist and talk about his animal instincts.
All right, we will have that and more tomorrow at 7. I'm Emily Rooney. Thanks for watching.